Hello everyone, Neagat here, and welcome to another match of Littlewargame. Today I am bringing a game played on Ravaged AA4, and in the top left we have myself, Neagat, playing with the red pieces. In the bottom right we have ItzJ playing with the blue pieces. And the point of this game is to kind of re-immerse myself in Little War Games. So, for a little bit of context, I'm pretty rusty at Little War Game, but I have been able to play a couple matches against, for instance, Norm, Guinness, players like this at that kind of level, and I've kind of just been like re-falling into the groove of the game and kind of relearning it and um, and I've really been enjoying doing this. So um, I oh yeah, so the what I'm trying to say is the point of this match is kind of to go over some of the things that happened in this game and talk about how I could have played better or how the opening could have gone, certain things like that. Um, and then this video is going to be part of two videos because we played two games. It's Jay and I. We both played two games against each other. Um, and I'm not going to spoil who won the first one and who won the second one, but I'm just going to say it was pretty close, and both games were really exciting. So let's go ahead and address the openings. My opponent went for a castle first. He basically built three workers to get to the 10 worker supply cap, and then he built a castle once he could afford it. And then for myself, I went for a house into barracks, all while building workers into two raiders. So that's what I'm doing. I also sent out this worker to kind of scout and see what's going on around the map, see if my opponent is going for any like proxies, anything like that. My opponent, it's Jay. He went for a workshop out of the castle first, which is very interesting. I personally don't play against a lot of players who go castle first and then build a workshop. Um, I'm not exactly sure what my thoughts are on that opening. I think it's pretty susceptible to things like what I'm doing right now, which is raider harass. So he could take a lot of damage here if I play this well. But yeah, it just matters if I play it well. Oh, I try to focus down this worker. He does a very good job of putting it here and then pressing D, which is the command for like stopping and not moving. It's like the halt command. Um, Basically, if you press D while you're selecting any units, those units won't move. They will attack if they're in range of attacking something, but they basically don't move. And then we get this Gatling gun spawning out, and I want to kill it, but I also don't want to lose any raiders. My personal philosophy with these raiders are that you keep them alive the whole game. You let them do your scouting, you let them do a little bit of poke damage, but your job is to keep them alive because they do so much scouting later on, especially when you're getting your bases and everything going up. So as for what's going on so far, I am just getting these two barracks, and I also decided to get an additional raider. Um, I like having three raiders. I think it's um, like the right number of raiders. I think three raiders one shots a Gatling gun if I remember correctly. So I think it's pretty strong. Let's go ahead and keep looking at the builds. Oh no, I did a little bit of raider harassment there. I wasn't able to micro that raider back, so I ended up losing it. I do get this second raider because he finally kind of showed up. That would have been the third raider, but now it's just two, so I have a lot less pressure now. Let's see if I can find the building tab. Production. Here we go. So my opponent is building a second workshop. What that signals to me is that he is not trying to get a castle. He's just trying to get units. He's prioritizing um, building, probably catapults. I haven't been able to scout inside of his base, so I don't know. I don't know anything about what's going on in here. I just know that he has another workshop coming up, and so that signals to me that he is going to be focusing on building army units, and so that tells me I need to build build an army enough to be able to repel a two base all in from a mech player. So that's what my mind is on while we get to this point. It's also the reason why this worker isn't building a castle, and instead he's building a house. Um, I don't want to get supply blocked, but I also don't think I can commit to building a castle safely. Instead, what I do is I build an advanced workshop so that I can possibly do some um, catapult drops with these catapults here, and maybe do some damage. In case you haven't seen this before, in case you're wondering why I have barracks as well as an advanced workshop, or as well as just a normal workshop, I like the idea of the catapult kind of being like this tech unit that Rex players can use. Kind of like instead of a mage, it's basically my substitution to a mage. That's how I think of it. So my opponent, he's going for a drop of his own. He would have seen that I had a castle here, and definitely planning on building a castle. But instead, I just have these archers to kind of repel him. At the same time, I've got my raider here to kind of see what's going on his side of the base. Also, one here just to see if he gets this location for his third base. That's basically what I'm thinking about. Oh, I also send out these archers in this airship here to kind of repel his airship and also isolate his catapults over here. So that's going to give me a lot of value. Being able to kind of take out these catapults is really nice. At the same time, on the other side of the map, these Gatling guns were able to kind of neutralize my raider that was over here. And then I still have scouting information going on over there. So there's going to be a lot of stuff going on at the same time. I was able to scout the fact that. Oh, no, I don't think I did. Oh, that's rough. I thought, and I guess not, I guess I misremembered, but I thought I was able to scout out the fact that he did make this third castle, which which made me feel like I was safe to get my third castle. But I think personally, I should have been able to get this castle even before now. I think this is a little late. I think I should have been able to get this castle up a little earlier, especially because with mech units, it takes a really long time for you to mass up an army that's significantly strong enough to actually take out a Rax player. At least that's my opinion of it, especially if I play it right. So um, my opponent, he moves across the map and he attacks into my archers. I also pull these workers to kind of transfer, but I also well, yeah, I was pulling these workers to transfer to this third base, but instead, um, I use them to attack here. At the same time, I'm attacking across the map, so I have these archers and catapults. I have these catapult drops going on. So basically, what I did in my mind is instead of attacking this fight that was going on in front of my second base here, I basically said, okay, I'm just going to attack what I see over here, and I'm just going to do these drops and kind of try to get some damage in. I do have to eventually respond to this, or else he'll end up like killing my base, right? So I made a catapult that came out, and I put it right here. This catapult kind of has control over basically like this whole area, which means that his units are going to take a lot of damage if they try to come here and attack this. And even now, my catapult has reign over some of the units here. Um, Opponent responded to the catapult drop. This is very odd to see just workers and catapults standing next to each other, right? So very funny to watch, very funny to see. But yeah, my opponent he has these units and he continues to commit them. So despite kind of being repelled, I would say, I mean, he's only got 4 Gatling guns now. Now he has 3. Instead of kind of moving these guys back, he decides to kind of just continue harassing, which is really interesting. I think he could have saved those for a later fight had he kept those. Not doing the best job of microing. I'm hoping I'll be able to do a better job of that in the next game. And then at the same time, I don't know if I'm doing a good job of expanding as well. I think I could have used 100 gold here to expand to another location. I was able basically I repelled his 2-base all-in that kind of happened, and now I feel secure enough to expand. So hopefully I do that very soon. Use this airship to kind of just scout out, see what's going on with my opponent. My opponent does a very good job, and I've noticed this a lot in this game as well as other games that we've been able to play. ItzJ does a great job of using his airships to kind of micro his ballista around and do a lot of damage to air units specifically. Does a very good job of that actually. So yeah, ItzJ, he is looking to expand. I should be able to scout this out with my raider here. I see that he builds a watchtower, and I respond to that immediately because I don't want him to be able to expand. I want him to stay on 3 or less bases. At the same time, my opponent is able to scout that I have my 4th coming up. I'm able to scout that he doesn't have his 4th in this location yet, but I do notice that it's coming up in this location. So we both respond, and we're both trying to tell each other, hey, don't expand. Whatever you do, you cannot expand. My opponent wants to limit the number of bases I have, and so do I. I definitely want to limit the number of bases he has, but he's doing a really good job of limiting me. We can see 5 workshops. That is a lot of workshops. Yeah, 5 workshops is a tremendous amount of workshops, and my opponent is building them. So means he's going to be very strong. He should have the economy to sustain 5 workshops at some point. Definitely once he gets on 4 or 5 bases, I think he will be able to do that. This is a theme I've noticed, especially when there's catapults around. Attacking into catapults is very hard to do. They just do a really good job of dealing damage when you walk into their like rocks that they're throwing. You can micro around it, like if you're able to move your units in a way that makes it so that they don't get hit, kind of like what I'm doing a little bit with some of these archers, continuing to move them around. But other than that, attacking into catapults with slower units is very hard to do. Does a really good job of continuously microing his airships. I notice he does a really good job of that. At this point, I'm able to get my 4th base up. I'm also looking to get a 5th base up as soon as I can and kind of turn this around. I'm also doing a little bit of damage with this catapult drop, trying to keep him away from getting that 4th base up and running. If this was the game state, which it is, I'm actually favoring my odds because if I'm looking at this, I'm seeing 5 bases against 4, technically 3, right? Because he's only mining from 3 bases right now. I think I could be doing a good job at this point. But as we can see from these totals here, my opponent has been mining a lot better than I've been mining. We're both relatively even on how much we've lost throughout this game in terms of resources, but definitely something to consider there. Let's look at upgrades. So I have gone for this archer range upgrade. It comes from this this armory building that kind of snuck away in the corner of the map here. It makes my archers really good at attacking from range. I don't know exactly how much range it goes up. Looks like it goes up 1 range from 5 range to 6 range. It basically makes it um, really good with catapults because it kind of creates this like ball of control and pressure that archers and catapults can kind of have together. And then the archers can kind of take care of units that are in the sky that the catapults can't deal with. So, in my mind, that's a good combo. At the same time, my opponent um, has two attack upgrades coming along, as well as the two attack upgrades that he already has, making these ballista and catapult units really, really dangerous. Really, really dangerous. That's something that I should try to be doing in the future. Making my catapults even more dangerous is a great idea. My opponent kind of has this run by going around, as well as this fifth base location. Very interesting location for him to put a fifth base. Kind of gives him control over this area here, and lets him attack my base as well. At the same time, he is kind of juked me out a little bit with attacking in this location. I sent my whole army basically to kind of reply to this run by that he had, and at the same time he sent basically his actual force to attack this location. As a result, he's pretty much able to kind of keep me off of two bases because I don't think I send the workers back to mine this because of the micro I'm having to do responding to this attack. Looking at the army compositions, ballista and catapults, he's using these uh, caltrops, caltrops, I guess, to kind of repel to slow my units down if they were to attack into these catapults. They the 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 Gatling guns are not faring well against my archers and catapults. However, as you can see, they kind of just got deleted. But again, there's the theme of attacking into catapults. It's not very easy to do. What I do is I load up some airships and I basically drop a bunch of archers on top of these catapults to kind of do some damage and respond to that threat there. So I was able to respond. I was able to kind of keep my five bases up. I was able to keep everything alive, but my opponent has control over the map. And on Ravaged AA4, that's a pretty big deal because the map is kind of small, and that means that I have control over a very small area. Um, let's go ahead and speed this up. We have a little bit of harassment going on. We can see that I'm responding to this attack here. This is a very interesting platform to think about how much control it gives you over the adjacent location. The fact that if your opponent is here and you're here, you can't see your opponent, but your opponent can see you. It's a lot of control. And we can see that he's probing with his Gatling guns. He's kind of moving up, placing these traps, and then moving away. And then he also has a really solid location in this spot. I'm able to kind of I see his army here with this worker and with this airship, and I'm kind of able to keep him at bay for a little bit using these catapults. I think he's kidding with me by moving these up and down like that, but yeah, it's not good to leave your army in next to catapults like this. But yeah, because of this location, I'm able to kind of control this area a little bit more than I would have otherwise. But he does fight this really well. I didn't respond in time with these units. I definitely should have. Definitely should have had more strength than I did, especially with this army, or especially with this income that I have. My opponent is doing a very good job of keeping his resources lower than me, and as a result, I just have unspent money in the bank, which is another lesson I should learn. Yep, I'm using these airships to kind of just be able to negate the advantage of having these catapults and just dropping units on top of him. Um, I'm I'm still focusing on these archers. Uh, Basically, my idea is I just want to keep these archers and this archer and catapult composition that I have in like. Maybe in the future I'll experiment with doing soldier drops instead of archer drops, and see what results those give me. Because soldiers are pretty decent units. They're really nice units actually. Really chunky, really healthy. They do a lot of damage too. So using these airships to kind of drop on the catapults now. Again, ballista here to try to counter the archers. At the same time, I just don't have the army composition to deal with the with the army that he has attacking me. And at this point, I think I decide to GG if I remember correctly. My opponent played really well. He's got this really strong army, and now he's attacking my production, which is going to mean that I can't really respond to his attack very well. So there, I do call it. I call the GG, and I say really well played. I could have done a better job there with that army composition and with everything I did. We'll definitely leave your thoughts on this game. I thought it was a great kind of like warm up and reintroduction into a little war game. I thought the idea of using these airships to kind of drop on the catapults was great. And I'm also still continuing to develop this idea of the archer and the +1 range upgrade and how they match up into the catapult. I'm actually very interested in that matchup, specifically archer versus catapult, and we'll see how that matchup develops. Like I mentioned earlier, this is game one of two games that me and ItzJ played against each other, and I am very excited to cast the next game. Obviously, ItzJ played fantastically in this one, and definitely deserved the win. So, well played, and I will see you guys in the next one.